moment, my friend.
Welcome to episode 5 of Nothing But Net on November 4th, 2019. It is 6:52 recording this. I'm your host, Taylor Hudson, and I'm with my co-host,
Karl-Heinz Reichert.
And today starts the day of daylight savings time. So, pretty dark out right now. I was walking over to class, and I was kind of taken away how dark it was, and it was only 6 o'clock at the time.
Yeah, liked the extra hour, but and also I kind of like it better being lighter out in the morning. But
yeah.
Anyways, let's get right into it.
Let's get into it. The top story, if you don't know, Everton midfielder Andre Gomes will miss the remainder of the season due to an ankle injury. Came against the game against Tottenham. Heung-min Son challenged or tripped him up from behind, and then I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Serge Aurier came in with a tackle in front.
Yeah. At first, it was a yellow card for Son, and I guess once the referee walked over and saw why Andre wasn't getting up and people around him in a very
all of
horrific
the how dramatic it was and how shocking the shock value definitely I think played a factor into it. And if you watch the full clip, it earlier in the play when Andre Gomes elbowed Heung-min Son in the gut, and then it was kind of a little revenge that he couldn't catch up to him down when he was sprinting down the wing, so he went to kind of try and get the ball, but also clipped his foot, and it ended up knocking him off balance. And as he was falling, he got challenged by Serge Aurier. It was his right foot it was cleat on cleat, and then that's what ended up severely breaking Andre Gomes' ankle.
I'm going to get a little vulgar here, so if you don't like injuries, just skip.
I mean, you can watch the video if you want to.
Video.
It's
we'll
everywhere.
Have it. I'll retweet it if you want. But if you look down at your foot right now, his foot was basically 180 degrees right. So
yeah, right
we're
ankle.
looking at our foot right now, it's just straight, but his foot was almost like a straight line. So it's bad. He's out for the rest of the year. But
it was terrible. And Heung-min Son immediately burst into tears.
Yeah,
and you can only imagine why. I mean, I've been on the other end of this. So when I was playing in 2015 for club soccer, I was in the midfield. I made a pass out wide, and about I'd say a solid 2 seconds after I gave up the ball, after I'd already passed it away, a kid came from behind and basically just ran it through the back of me. And I fell forward, but the force from his shoulder into the back of me broke my collarbone. And I was laying on the ground, and I don't really I remember what all the feeling and everything,
right.
But the parents and everyone told me that my legs were spazzing out, and that I they couldn't pin me down. I tried to get up, and I just fell back down.
You remember was your one side of your body just
oh, I had to I literally I had to look down at the ground, slump my whole body just to be able to get to the sideline. And when I was walking, I stayed for the rest of the game. I watched the rest of the game, and then I went to the hospital, and we had my arm in in a penny, in a sling, a made sling out of a penny. And then in the car, every single bump was awful. I literally had to look at the ground, and I couldn't take normal steps. I had to take baby steps because I couldn't I don't know why that affected every other part of my body, but I couldn't stand up straight. I couldn't take normal strides. It just took forever. And then it took 2 hours to get seen, and I hadn't even had dinner yet. It was a during the week game for club. It was so bad. But anyways, I know kind of where Andre Gomes is at the moment, and it's awful. Obviously my injury, I was still able to I didn't have to stretch it off or anything, but
right.
It was still pretty bad. But and I've talked to that kid that did it, and it was it was a dirty play. I'm gonna call it what it was. There wasn't even a foul on it because it was so late after the play. The ref had already looked away. So, I feel I know kind of how that situation is, and I've talked to him before, because he went to East Mech, so we played them in high school, and I got to talk to him, and he obviously felt horrible, and we kind of talked it out or whatever, and it was fine. But yeah, just a little personal experience.
Everton tweeted out today, or it was yesterday, that Andre Gomes did he underwent surgery and everything's fine, but the timetable will be next season. So
Yeah.
just signed for Everton, I believe, correct?
Last year.
Last year, okay, yeah. Portuguese international, and unfortunate that
you
happened.
hate to see it, but
yeah,
we wanted to start it off, get the negative stuff out of the way at the beginning.
It's a really sad story, so
Yeah.
that's off. So hopefully we get to the lighter part of the podcast.
Yeah.
So the Champions League goes on this week. Tomorrow.
Yep, starts back up again tomorrow.
And I believe we already did our quick
5th.
picks, and they didn't play. So instead of doing the Champions League, we just did Premier League.
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about Premier League and a
Yeah.
little bit of Bundesliga today.
Yeah.
So the English top league and the German top league a little bit.
So we just want to do a recap of the Premier League as of Monday, November 4th. From 1 through 6, we have Liverpool at top with 31 points. Manchester City second with 25 points. Leicester City, a surprising third-place team with 23 points. Chelsea with 23 points. Arsenal with 17 points. And at 6, Sheffield United with 16 points. Some other teams to highlight, we throw in United at 10 with 13 points. And Spurs 11 at 13 points. The end of that game with Everton was a draw. So they both walked away with a point. Carl, any surprising things standing out in the Premier League table right now to you?
Well, just based off what you said, there's some clear surprises. I think Leicester is less of a surprise this time, obviously because we've seen them do it once before in 2015-16. But I think Ndidi has really helped their midfield, and I think that obviously he's not as good as N'Golo Kante, but I feel like they needed that central midfielder role, someone to step up, and he's played pretty decent so far this campaign. And obviously Vardy has returned to 2015-16 form. Winning against Southampton 9-0 also helps your scoring, but just he's been mental so far this year. And then Sheffield United, they haven't played the most competitive teams, but they have gotten a win against Arsenal 1-0, and they only lost to Liverpool 1-0 as well. So, and their manager has been doing a fantastic job over there at Sheffield United. I think they've done fantastic. And if you want to kind of go into that, or you can talk about United or Tottenham.
I want to save my Leicester take for later when we go to Bayern. Just because if something when we
it connects.
When we were thinking about it, I just thought about Brendan Rodgers and how that whole situation with Leicester, and really I guess I can go into it without the manager part, but Leicester City, the 2015-16 run, the 500-1 odds of winning the title, they win it.
I thought it was 3,000 to 1.
Was it 3,000?
I'm pretty sure it was 3,000 to 1.
It was. Let's just say that it was the lowest odds of winning the title, because I think they were newly promoted.
Or it was either that or their second year.
Yeah. So they had the core of, we discussed earlier, Vardy, then they had Conte and Mahrez, and people like Wes Morgan and Schmeichel, just the key players to that. And then, those two players, Mahrez and Conte get sold off.
Yeah.
And then Leicester takes a dip. I mean, they go to Champions League, and I think they got to the 16 that following year. I don't remember correctly. I might have to look that up.
Yeah, and they've been 7, 8, or 9 the rest of the years. So, obviously a drop-off, but, mid-table is still good in the Premier League.
Yeah, and then, the chairman dies in a helicopter crash.
Yeah.
About roughly a year and a half ago, I believe, as well. His son takes over, and then they stumble upon Brendan Rodgers being the manager now. And now they're in third place, Premier League. And I think it's the year of the teams falling off, like Man United,
Tottenham has had major struggles.
Yeah, Spurs going from Champions League final to 11th in the Premier League behind United. United's been, as I've said before in this podcast and outside the podcast, they've been
we've talked about this outside of the podcast about Man United. And we can talk about we rehash that a little bit on here if you want.
Having Pogba hasn't played in forever. Martial just came back recently. One thing I want to say though, that Rashford free kick, that was
Chelsea.
filthy.
Jesus.
That was knuckle curve, top bin. I was just like, whoa. That was amazing seeing that. So I guess that's a highlight for Man United. I feel like the talk of the Premier League this year has been managers in and out, people being sacked.
Or people wanting people sacked.
Yeah, wanting.
Like
yeah.
like Unai Emery for Arsenal.
Right. And then Ole is also being rumored that they want to sack him, and how he's managing now from his intern when they got rid of Mourinho.
Yeah, it's
Something
literally
interesting to think about.
It's literally like Pep and Klopp are the only ones that are safe.
And Brendan Rodgers. Hey, I'm with my boy Brendan.
And the guy at Sheffield.
Yeah. They get some good money, get some more players in, finances. So quickly before we get to the manager, I have the top Premier League scores. So 1 is Jamie Vardy with 11 games played with 10 goals. Number 2, surprising, the youngster Tammy Abraham for Chelsea with 11 games played, 9 goals. Tied with Sergio Aguero with 9 goals. Aubameyang, the Golden Boot last year, but 11 matches, and 8 goals. And then 5th, but Raheem Sterling with 10 appearances and 7 goals. Any surprises there besides the Tammy Abraham, you think?
Tammy Abraham has been pretty good. Like before this season, like he was showing promise playing in some of the Chelsea games, but obviously you're getting to see really what he can do, and they've needed a true striker. Pretty much, I'm trying to think. Probably since
the 14-15 season with Costa.
Yeah.
Or would you say even later?
I would say like they haven't had the true striker that they've needed, obviously, since Drogba.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you want to go even further on that?
Yeah, because I mean you've had Costa, Morata,
Giroud,
Higuain. So they've gone through a bit.
About Higuain.
Yeah, he was here last year for like a hot second for on loan. I just think they're putting a lot of faith in him, and I think they're placing their faith. Well, Lampard's placing his faith in the right area. I think they need to focus, like move towards youth, and with his team selections lately, especially with Pulisic scoring again the other day, I think he's showing that. So,
moving to the top assisters, we have Kevin De Bruyne, who has 9 assists in 10 games.
Expected.
Yeah, expected.
Amazing midfielder.
Emiliano Buendia with 11 appearances and 4 assists for Norwich City, tied with David Silva with 4, Harvey Baines with 4 for Leicester, and then Dwight McNeil for Burnley with 3. I'm surprised that Ozil's not in there, but
because he hasn't been playing.
He doesn't get playing time. I kind of miss seeing Ozil playing. I feel like he needs to get out of Arsenal if he wants to really just get back to playing regular time football.
I think he thrived for a few years at Arsenal, but I think his best years were at Madrid. And you could tell, like, especially internationally, I think those were his best years. And I being a German national team fan, I've watched all of his time now that his tenure's over with the German national team. And definitely the earlier years, like the 06 World Cup and even the 2010 to an extent, were the best of Ozil, and it didn't really get any better. It just got worse. It seemed like you wanted to root for him, but sometimes it just seemed like laziness on the ball, trying to do too much, and just not like. Obviously, he can make those amazing passes, but not just keeping it simple sometimes.
Yeah. So moving on, Niko Kovač, did I say that right? Kovač sacked at Bayern Munich. Carl, what is your take? This is your team.
Yeah. So
what's going forward for you as a Bayern fan?
I think it was Saturday. Bayern played Eintracht Frankfurt. Now that is my if we're talking Bundesliga, I root for Eintracht Frankfurt because that's where my dad was born. So they're my team in the Bundesliga. But I root for all teams all German teams in the Champions League, which is why Bayern in effect is my favorite team, because they usually do the best in Champions League, and I want to see German teams do well outside of Germany.
Right.
So, Niko Kovač managed Eintracht Frankfurt previously, and then moved to Bayern. He actually beat them in the Super Cup. So when he was managing not the Super Cup, the Deutsche Pokal, like the domestic cup.
I remember that.
Yeah. So he got hired on, and so they played Frankfurt on Saturday, and they lost 5-1, an absolute thrashing. And after that, Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, the president of operations at Bayern, came out and issued the statement that they were going to sack Niko Kovač. And I think the nature of being a Bayern manager, like, it's a finite thing. Like, you don't think that you're going to have all these glory years, I think, with Bayern. It's very, what have you done for me lately, as many things in sports are. If you look at it, he won a Bundesliga title, the Super Cup, and the Deutsche Pokal, and got, unfortunately, bounced by Liverpool in the round of 16 in the Champions League, and that was enough for him to get fired. Yes, they have a slow start to Bundesliga this year. Bundesliga table right now is wide open, the most wide open it's been in years. I'd say like 6 or 7 years.
Right.
So I can see from that standpoint, I guess, yeah. I think they've been performing well in Champions League, obviously, but I think it was a little early to pull the trigger on that one. But I just have to respect their decision. I know there's always a short leash at Bayern. I think they'll find the right manager. People are saying Jose Mourinho. I don't think that's a great option for them.
You even got Allegri and Laurent Blanc out there that are also managers.
I don't like Laurent Blanc as a manager.
What about Allegri?
I don't know. Maybe, but I like when, maybe it's a nationalistic thing, I don't know, but I like when Bayern has a German coach.
Right. And that's what,
like, I think obviously
too.
They played really well under
Pep.
They played really well under Pep, yeah. And Ancelotti did good as well, but I just like when they play under a German manager. Maybe that's just being nationalistic, but especially because, like, that's how they are on the national team. Like, they won't have anyone else besides the German national coach the national team. So
right.
That's just maybe that's being short-sighted.
Well, I mean, you go down to the basics. It's a German team, and you have somebody, let's say, like Allegri, that's Italian, coming in, having to learn a new language. That's, you have a language blockage with you and your players, and it just makes it harder to communicate with your players.
Yeah.
So even when you're going to tactics, or if you're doing press conferences, or just on the pitch training, that language barrier. Think about this as professional athletes. Like, even when you do it in the classroom, it's hard. Now trying to instruct tactics on players, where they will follow what you're doing, and they will get behind you. And I feel like you said, having a German player or a German manager at a German club makes sense.
Yeah. So. I think I don't know who the last one was. I think the last one they had was Jurgen Klinsmann in 2008 and 2009.
Right.
And that was, what year did they win the? Oh, let me see. What year
last Champions League?
Yeah, Bayern. I think Bayern won
2012, 2013
against Dortmund.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't him, but.
I mean.
Oh, and I think that might have been the year they played Chelsea.
No. Which one? When they won it?
No, they lost to Chelsea in the final in pens.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
They came
that
back
might have
next year and played Dortmund.
It was that next year.
Yeah,
okay,
with Robbins the last minute.
I think that was under Ancelotti that they did that, but anyways, I think Kovač never really found his footing at the club, which is sad to see because I like that he came from my favorite club and then was going to coach at Bayern. Like, I like that success story, but it didn't end up working out. And yeah, I think just Bayern has to move on. They've gotten some injuries that they need to handle, or deal with. Nicolas Sula tore his ACL. I think someone else got injured as well. But anyways, we can move on from that now.
The manager at the time was Jupp.
Oh,
Junkis. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, Jupp Junkis.
Yeah, he also came in after Ancelotti got sacked, and he finished out the year.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And then he took over before they got Kovač.
Right.
He was interim manager.
Yeah, and I just lost my train of thought. Oh, Pep Guardiola, go back to him. It's hard to fill, living up to the expectations of being a manager after Pep.
Yeah.
Because Pep just carries himself that well,
And Pep took them to semifinals. It was 3 straight years, so they ended up having to play Madrid.
Right.
And obviously they lost because Madrid won all those 3 Champions Leagues.
Right.
And they just ran into they always ended up drawing against Madrid in either the quarters or the semis. And it was the away fixture in Madrid that would always kill them.
And then, not to mention, I want to say 2016-17 against Juventus at home. Juventus goes up, back on aggregate.
Yeah, that was a crazy comeback.
And then last second, I think it was Mueller's header. The last second ties it, and they go to extra time, and then the rest is history.
Took it away from there, yeah.
They walk away beating Juventus. So you're talking about the manager, or a little manager hour. So talking about Leicester City, I went to Brendan Rodgers. So he's at Liverpool for a good amount of time, finds success with them, gets sacked towards the end as the new era of Liverpool football begins. Klopp comes in, and you know how Liverpool was transformed under Klopp. And so Brendan goes over to Celtic. He manages them for 3 years. He has 118 wins, 25 draws, 26 losses. Then Leicester, who was the manager? This is so bad I don't know. I can't think of his name right now. But he was the manager there when they won the title. I can't think of his name. It's an Italian manager.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, it's really bad I don't know his name. Anyway.
No, it wasn't Conte, was it?
No. I can't remember.
I'll look it up. You keep going.
Yeah. But Brendan Rodgers comes to Leicester this year, and out of all matches, he's got 15 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. And like we said before, he's top 3 in the Premier League table. And I know it's still kind of early in the season for the Premier League, but I mean, if he keeps getting results out of players like Ndidi, and he has Vardy scoring, and they keep up this form, Champions League is not something that is going to be completely ruled out. So I just like to highlight Brendan Rodgers is taking over Leicester in a really good time as a new era of Leicester City comes in after the chairman passes away.
I would say Jose Perez as well plays well on the wing for them. And Claudio Ranieri.
Yeah, Ranieri. That's who it was. I could see him. He looks like the up guy.
He does.
Yeah,
he
does.
does.
He not look like the up guy? Yeah. So, I saw him smiling in my head, but I couldn't remember his name.
That's all good.
Anything else you want to say about soccer?
Hopefully the next 2 days are interesting. Hopefully get some good storylines. Hopefully my team and your team get a result. And yeah, I think we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Transferring to basketball. We said last week that the first week are in the books. Now we're starting to advance in the season. Hot takes are coming out. Teams are dropping like flies. Some teams are not meeting expectations, and some teams are meeting expectations. So, Carl, quick take. How are your Hornets doing? They're 3-3 right now, 500 team. They're 6th in the East. They're breathing life. Do you want them to perform well and be a 7th, 8th seed, or you want them to just flat out just tank?
I want the Hornets to have a good culture and environment to grow young talent. Whether that means we're tanking or whether that means we're in the playoffs. I want our young talent to have a good place that they can grow and play good minutes so that they can have more experience and grow into becoming our next superstars. Like PJ Washington has been going
electric.
Yeah, been playing very well. I'm praying that he continues to play well. Crossing my fingers. Miles Bridges, Dwayne Bacon, hopefully
Devontae Graham. That's been the man that I keep seeing his name pop up against the Hornets.
He should have been a first-round pick, and we ended up getting him in the second round, which was a steal for us. And then Malik Monk, hopefully he turns it on. I don't think he will, though. But especially those first 4, I think, can be a nice core for us.
I've
then
been-
obviously you have players like Rozier and Cody Zeller. Even though people hate on Cody Zeller, he does his job most of the time, and I do love to make fun of him, but he has been probably one of the most consistent things that we've had in our organization. So.
I agree with that take. I'm looking at the box score from the, do I dare say it, the Kings-Hornets game where the
Yes,
Kings
sir.
were winning and the Hornets came back. I told Carl on this podcast that the Kings would smoke and beat the Hornets. No doubt. Well, I was wrong. The Kings blew another third-quarter lead. And
Yeah.
looking at the stats here, and I've been looking at it recently, is MKG done playing? Does he not play anymore? Is he hurt?
No, he's on the bench.
I see a bunch of DNPs. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah, he
Are the
is
Hornets
getting paid a
realizing-
lot of money to do nothing because he picked up his player option. Why wouldn't he? No one's going to pay him as much as we do anywhere else.
So next year, he's off the books. Marvin Williams off the books, and Cody Zeller's off the books. And I
Yes,
think Bismack
sir.
Biyombo's off the books.
Yes, sir. That is the huge thing. Obviously, we'll probably keep Cody. Is Marvin Williams coming off the books? I forgot.
I think so. I think Marvin Williams is coming off the
I
books.
think I would like to keep him as well, obviously just for a way less cap hit. I think it's either this year or next year that he comes off. Or maybe he
Pulling
just...
up right now on Basketball Reference. We are not prepared on this podcast.
Sorry,
Actually,
guys.
I did not see it. Hang on.
I'll keep talking while you do that. I like those contracts were not the best for us. They were made when we were trying to push forward, and we were like, we need you to play up to this contract, and then they just didn't. So
And I also forgot to mention that our man has I think he has a player option. The player option, Nick Batum, will come off the books in 2020.
he's gonna take his player option because
27
no
million.
one's gonna pay him $27 million a year.
So
He comes off
After-
the bench, and for good reason.
after 2019 and 20, Bismack 17 million's off the books. Marvin's 15 million's off the books. MKG's 13's off the books. And that's about
Cody? Or did you say
it.
Cody?
Cody's got till 2021.
I'm
So
fine with that. I'm fine
So
with
going
that.
into 2021, it's probably going to be Nick Batum, Terry, Cody Zeller, Malik Monk, PJ Washington.
Malik
Miles
Monk will need a
Bridges.
new deal, I think.
I think you got a good deal on him right now for what he's doing.
What is he at?
So right now he's making $4 million.
Oh, okay. So we
So he's still on that rookie contract.
Oh, he's on that rookie contract.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
okay, yeah.
2021 his rookie contract expires, but he's at 5.3 mil.
That's way. Yeah.
So
I don't know.
that's the team in a nutshell right there. But going to the main story we should open up with, but I got sidetracked.
Yeah,
because
no, it's
how-
okay.
how
We
bad
don't
they-
have to talk about the Hornets. They're
we
doing
know
all
what
right.
they are. They are
They'll be mediocre or worse. So, anyways,
just like the Kings. I bought all my King stock, and I'm about to sell it all. I think I'm about to sell all my King stock, but I'll still root for them because they're my team. But the main story that we have: Stephen Curry broke his left hand after a collision on the ground. It looked pretty bad, and I don't like Steph Curry that much, but I don't want to see him out with injury. That's something that sucks. I don't like seeing anybody. And I can recall back to the 2019 finals when Kevin Durant got hurt, and like all the fans were like cheering when he was like grabbing his Achilles. Like, wow, what did this guy do to you besides
Yeah.
win some basketball games? So he'll be out for the next 3 months. I had to bring this up. So 2019, so Game 5, the Raptors are winning the series. I think it's 3-1. Or is it 2-1?
No, 3-1.
So 3-1. So KD comes back. That's the game where he goes down. He gets hurt. Achilles. 14 minutes he played, or 11 minutes. Anyway, Achilles goes down. So this was the starting lineup for the Warriors. Klay Thompson, Curry, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, Kevin Durant. So they basically reran the team for the last 2 years with the addition of Kevin Durant. So that was their team on Game 5 of the finals, starting lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Their lineup on November 2nd versus the Hornets was
At home.
Kai Bowman, Glenn Robinson, Eric Paschal, Jordan Poole, and Willie Cauley-Stein. Talk about a difference in an organization. How you wake up one day with, you have like 4 All-Stars. You have definitely 3 to
and
4.
Boogie on the bench. Well, actually, he got hurt at the beginning. But
Yeah. You have potentially 3 or 4 Hall of Famers in that starting lineup. Andre, Kevin Durant, Curry. They're all locks. Klay Thompson.
Andre Iguodala's on a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Andre Iguodala is a lock for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, what? What?
I don't even doubt that for a second.
What?
Andre Iguodala down the stretch of his career has really morphed his game into being a
Not a
premier
Hall of
wingman.
Famer.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, no.
He's got 3 titles.
Oh, that doesn't mean he should be a Hall of Famer.
He was a key player to them.
Yeah, he got a Finals MVP. I know, but I'm just saying.
Oh, I forgot about that too. There you go. Finals MVP. Curry doesn't have one. But you go from that team and you go to the current Warriors roster. I don't know where it went wrong.
We're gonna omit Taylor's Andre Iguodala
that take
comment.
is not even that hot. Like that's a.
Oh no.
I'll put money that Andre Iguodala will get bought out by the Grizzlies and he'll be on the next title contending team. I bet you.
Okay. Anyways,
he'll get bought out.
The Hornets were favored against the Warriors in Oakland. That's crazy. No,
San Fran. They moved San Fran.
Oh, whatever.
That's
I knew it wasn't at Oracle. I just didn't know the name of the arena.
I don't know how they're going to fill that stadium now. That franchise. I mean, I guess next year we'll see when Klay Thompson comes back. But I think it's I think you knew the season was done when you knew Klay Thompson wasn't coming back this year. And now Curry's out. And then Russell's going ankle day to day. Sad thing to be a Warriors. And I don't. It's not that I didn't hate the Warriors, but like I got tired of them winning like any other team.
You know who I feel bad? I feel bad for D'Angelo Russell. He leaves L.A. Look at L.A. now. We'll go into it in a little bit. He leaves. He goes to Brooklyn.
Right.
He makes a star out of himself. He's performing really well. Now look at Brooklyn. And even better next year when they have KD healthy. And now
Brooklyn's
he's like
2-4 right now, but I know it's early.
It's
really early. But I understand the roster situation.
Yeah, and then he's like, all right, finally, I'm gonna be on a good team. He goes to the Warriors, and then all this shit happens, or all this crap happens in the.
It's okay, we can say shit.
Oh, okay, whatever. I don't know. All this stuff happens in the offseason, and now he's looking at his team that he went to try and go win a championship, and he's like, what does this guy got to do to go somewhere where he can win? I mean, obviously he still has to play well, but still.
I think he's just going to go up there and average like 28, 29, take
He's
every shot possible, put himself
and Curry in the backcourt is like, I don't like that defensively at all.
No.
And
but that's the risk you take though, but I guess the philosophy, like even the Rockets right now.
And the Hornets still barely beat that team. That lousy Warriors team.
What was the final score? Do you remember?
93-87.
Come on, man.
It was 88-87 with 30 seconds left.
Come on, man. I don't know. If I'm a Warriors fan, I'm kind of devastated no, you're not devastated. You're happy that it's. I wouldn't be happy. But
you got your championships.
Yeah, you
now,
just had your 7-year run, like probably one of the most historic runs in NBA history, or even like sport history. And it just all goes to injury. So that kind of shows you like these runs. If you go on long runs, it's not sustainable.
Kawhi really did Thanos this league. Like he really did. Like, if you think about it, like, look how they've crumbled, and, like, there's parity in the league now. Like, teams are kind of even-ish. Again.
I guess there's more of a title contention spot.
There's more of a question. Even though people still will give it to the Clippers. Like,
but no, the Lakers are 5-1, dude. They're going to win the title.
Miami's 5-1, bro.
Jimmy Butler, Chicago product.
Yes, sir.
Chicago product right there. Okay, quickly. Embiid and Cat fight. This took over the headlines. You didn't even get to see the fight from the beginning because like the cameraman's like zoomed all the way down at the other end. Then you just see big feet moving in the picture frame, and like then he zooms out and you see like
they're swinging and missing, and then it was just a wrestling match.
And then guess who comes in and saves the day? Ben Simmons. He comes in and he chokes out Cat.
Yeah,
Cat taps out.
He did.
What's your take on that? Who do you think is going to win the fight?
If Embiid versus Cat?
I'm saying Embiid all day.
Yeah. Just look at the man.
Hey, but Wolves are 4-1, and Cat's playing like a grown. I don't think.
But Philly's 5-0.
Well, that too. You mentioned this. Yeah, we're going pretty fast today. The Lakers are 5-1.
Yeah. Good transitions.
And I'm saying slow down on this. Like,
Oh, I'm not saying that.
No, I'm not saying you, but in general, people are like,
people.
it's a wrap, Lakers. And I'm like, no. They are 1-1 against 2 playoff teams, potentially.
They lost to the Clips.
So Clippers are the team they lost to. That's the title favorite. And then they beat the Mavs in OT. That was barely a win. That's not. We don't know. I mean, it's potential that they're like an 8th or 7th seed. And everybody's talking about, or
they could go
it's
off.
a lock. Yeah. But let's see. So they won against the Mavericks. They beat the Grizzlies hard. They beat the Hornets. Okay, and I forgot to mention the Jazz are another playoff team.
They beat Joe Ingles.
Mike Conley's playing like the worst basketball of his career. And then they have Donovan Mitchell, the 23, 24-year-old that's going to put Utah in the bag. I don't believe that. I understand that the LeBron hype and the AD chemistry hype duo partnership is like...
It's looking better than it was. We'll just say that.
It's looking...
Well, there's still probably problems that will arise that they need to iron out, but I still would stick with my prediction. I think I put them at 5 or 4. I think 4 is good for them. They could do better, obviously, but I think 4 is still good for them.
Yeah. Hey, if you beat up on bad teams and boost your record, I mean, more props to you.
Literally, if you beat the teams you're supposed to beat and go 500 against the other teams, it's a pretty damn good record.
Right. Any surprises in the schedule so far? Any teams that stood out to you?
Well, Miami was my standout. I kind of mentioned that.
Yeah. 5-1.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero looks like a stud.
Yeah.
Bucks 4-2.
And then we talked about Golden State 1-5.
Yeah.
New Orleans 1-5. I mean, that's just too young, I guess. Everyone's pretty young there.
I can't see what Zion does when he comes back. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
It's kind of bad seeing so the Pelicans are 1-5, Warriors 1-5, Grizzlies 1-4. Then I see the Kings that are 2-5.
Knicks are 1-6. Did you see that Jason Tatum shot over R.J. Barrett?
Oof, that was clean.
Yeah.
That was clean.
That was nice.
But in the East looks just as
literally pretty much as we predicted, minus the Hornets.
Yeah, so the Hornets will probably fade off. What if they?
The Hornets are fading off for sure.
What if the Hornets don't fade off?
I thought about this, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna hope for good basketball.
We're not gonna jinx it. We're not gonna say the Hornets are gonna make it.
If you look at our schedule coming up, I hate that we're making it about the Hornets again, but we'll bring it.
We're the local team. The Hornets are the local team. If you don't like that, then stop listening.
They play the Pacers, okay? Big, maybe. Look competitive in the game at least, okay? You lose to the Celtics. Is that a home game? We
just mentioned that 7 through from 6.
That
down,
is a home game. So Kemba comes back to Charlotte on the 7th. I hope he should. He should be applauded. He should have a standing O for what he's done. If anyone boos him, you need to get out the arena right now. Then we play the Pelicans. Should be a win. So maybe we go 1-2 in that. Lose to the Sixers 1-3. But then you got the Grizzlies, Pistons, and Knicks, who arguably you could win all 3 of those. Like the Pistons, we usually play pretty even, but Grizzlies and Knicks, you should win those games.
Right. Anybody could beat the Knicks.
So I think right there, you're still looking at a 500 team in the middle of November. That's not bad. I think that's a good foundation you can build off of.
What we predicted the Hornets to be.
Yeah. Well,
we predicted the Hornets to be like that tanking team, and now they're 6 seed, and you're like,
when you have young guys playing above their pay, then that's what you get.
I like how they make. When we looked at the stats, or when I was looking at the stats for the PJ Washington versus the Kings, he had 38 minutes. I'm like, heck yeah, let him go out there and get some minutes.
The rookie, yeah. Devontae Graham and Terry Rozier are almost splitting even time, I think. Or they're playing a lot together as well. So I think that's really good, and Scary Terry has been he's been decent. He just isn't I'm gonna need to see a little bit more for what we the obscene amount of money we paid him. Obviously, it's not like a max contract or anything, but for Terry Rozier, I'd like to see a little bit more. But he's still like he's been okay. He's been consistent. Little bit of foul trouble here and there, but yeah.
I'm looking at the West. Let's run through the West real quick. I'll give you a conference, and we'll do a little segment on this. Lakers 1, 2 Timberwolves, 3 Clippers, Mavs 4, Spurs 5, Nuggets 6, Suns are 7. We haven't got to 20-game mark. They're 20-game mark. They won't fall off.
No. Dallas is 4, Denver 5, Phoenix 6, San Antonio 7, Utah 8. I'm looking at it on ESPN right now.
Why is it all Google? Did Google let me down?
Maybe mine's like live updated.
I have no idea. What does it have your Rockets at?
3 and 3.
At what seed?
9.
Oh. So my question to you was, what is the most surprising team that you see in the West right now? Timberwolves, Spurs, or the Rockets? I kind of want to say that the Rockets.
I kind of want to say Phoenix, to be honest.
Yeah.
I
think
it's only 4 and 2. It's only 4 and 2, but it's too early. It's too early for any of this. But I mean, so let's just, knowing it's too early, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'm gonna say, Phoenix wins at least 30 games this year.
My eyes got huge. 2-game win streak right now, though.
Yeah, I say the Suns get 30 wins plus 30 plus wins.
I mean, you kind of get a sense of your team when you're 15, 20, 25 games in.
Yeah, once you get to that 20-25% mark of the season, you kind of know this is what our team is. Now, we need to beat the opponents that we should be able to beat, like I was saying, and then at least give yourself a fighting chance in the other games.
Right. So with that philosophy, the Kings are not out of it yet. They're 2-5, 2-game win streak, baby. We're coming back.
You were 0-5.
2-5. But
you said a 2-game win streak, though.
Yeah, they were 0-5.
So they were 0-5.
The Kings were 0-5.
That's horrendous. Who'd you beat?
Knicks
and the Jazz. Jazz by 1, Knicks by, 21.
Yeah, I looked at one score. It was 43 to 70 something. I was like, wow, I'm not watching.
Dude, the Knicks are awful. God damn.
The Knicks are always going to be mediocre. James Dolan, just move on.
Phil Jackson.
Team. In the East, we already went over it. Sixers, Heat, Celtics, Bucks, Raptors, Hornets, Pacers, Pistons. That's your 1 through 8. Hawks are at 9 as they
pretty box standard.
3-game losing streak. They lost Trae Young to a ankle injury, but he seems to be fine. He's day-to-day, and he's supposed to come back this week. I read that on Twitter.
I did not see that, but I'm going to take your word for it.
Like I said, I think the surprise team for both us has been the Hornets being 3-3. I think it's my surprise. I don't know if it's yours.
Oh, kind of, yeah, but I would say the Heat or something like that.
Oh, also, yeah, the Heat. I just say the Hornets because we expected so less of them, and then when they showed us
I was expecting them to be 1-5, to be honest.
Yeah, and when we see the Hornets doing good, we're like, wait a minute, Hornets are a 500 team right now. But
you know what? I'm gonna just hold on to that and pray. So
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go for a bed. Dear basketball gods, please let the Hornets not be mediocre, please.
The thing is, I think I've only watched 3 of the games because the Devils, so the team I watch for hockey, normally has games on the same days at the same time. So, and I can't find the cable channel for the Hornets at the house. So I end up
just that Xbox and link it up.
I end up just watching the stream of the Devils game online, and then I during intermission I'll flip it to the Hornets.
Yeah.
So I don't get to watch much, but I watch game recaps and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Quickly, last topic. Can't throw this at you. App State, school we go to, if you didn't know. Their men's basketball goes to Michigan. I think they traveled today.
Yeah.
Going to take Michigan to start the start of the start of the NCAA basketball season. Now everybody's be like, "Whoa, App State football! 15 years ago they beat Michigan football." Can that narrative go away? I'm a student here.
It's part of our history.
I know, but you know what's funny? I'll have to save it for my star of the week. Just can we be better than that? We're we're not a small team from the mountains anymore. Like, that's not us. Like, we're a legitimate university. Throw some respect on our name. Respect it. Because we are a top team in football. Basketball, hey, Dustin Kern's new head coach. Hopefully he can start the program over. I'm closing out with hashtag take the stairs. Dustin Kearns. I like that.
All right.
I like that.
I did not know that, but that sounds good.
Yeah, that's a slogan. Take the stairs. People don't want to do it, but take the stairs.
All right, you want to get into the Golden Star of the Week?
Golden Star of the Week, what do you got?
For me, gonna retouch on our somber moment from the beginning. I would want to say Cenk Tosun. He's a Turkish forward for Everton. He was one of the first ones to run over to Andre Gomes. He was comforting him, like making sure he wasn't looking and all that. He also went over to Heung-min Son and was like comforting him, a player not even on his own team, making sure medical was getting like to Andre Gomes as quick as possible. He did a great job of like taking action and the right action quickly and being there to comfort those who obviously like were affected by what happened. And then he goes and scores the game. At that point, they were losing 1-0, and that was in the 70th minute. And he goes and scores the tying goal in the 97th minute in stoppage time to tie the game and give Everton a point. So I think that was a really, really like well done by him. I have liked him since he's been signed from Everton from the Turkish league. So I just want to say big props to him. I thought it was really classy what he did, and then he got rewarded for it. So
it just lets you. That just really puts into perspective. Not even like the Golden Star of the Week doesn't have to be like this person did something so great in sports. Like even something like that. Yes, he scores a goal, but he just being a human, and it's like bigger than soccer or football.
Bigger than football.
Bigger than football, and just him, looking at the sun and him crying on the sun like this guy that's in his mid-20s. Not really balling, but he was crying because he did something so bad. And was such shock that, oh my goodness, I'm the reason why this happened to some degree. So I like that pick. Mine is not sports related. I kind of like always do this.
Hey, it's okay. It's your pick for Star of the Week.
Golden Star of the Week. It's anybody that makes your day. This weekend, shout out to my girlfriend's dad, Scott. Took us out to. This is gonna be I had to tell this quick story. Long weekend. It was my girlfriend's birthday on Halloween, so we went down to visit him down in Lake Norman, and he showed us. He kept talking about our bar because she turned 21. He said, "Well, we go to our bar and we get drinks there, and it's cheap and it's good." And I was like, "Dude, what is our bar?" So I'm assuming it's in his backyard. He's like, "No, get in the keys. We're gonna go." So I'm like, "Okay, our bar. I don't know what this is." So he takes us down. We go to a Whole Foods, and I'm like, "Dude, this is a joke. There's no way." So okay, we go down, and then we go inside the restaurant or inside. We go inside Whole Foods convenience store. They have like a little burger section where you make your own burgers, or like people will cook them for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I eat this burger. I'm like, dude, this is I swear to you, not top 5 burger I've ever had in my life at a Whole Foods.
Oh, there you go.
Not saying the best part. So we go, and they have all these like little bar thing, and they're like showing us like they had like all the craft beer, like in its price out good. Like a can of beer, like craft, was like $1.99 per can. Trash like $3. I'm like, oh my goodness, we're going to heaven. But back to the App State football being bigger than that. The guy that was working there said he was like a salesman there. That he's like a younger kid, and he went to App State, and he said, I was here when we beat Michigan. And then he realized after we beat Michigan, like App State exploded, and like everybody wanted to come here. So that's my little piece. It was a good time. Go to Lowe's Foods if you want to drink craft beer cheap.
Oh, they said Whole Foods.
Or Whole Foods, yeah, not Lowe's. It's Whole Foods.
Oh, Whole Foods.
I only went in. I never been to Whole Foods. It's like the first time ever.
Get that nice organic stuff.
Yeah, I know. That's probably why the burger was so good. It's probably like the cow was probably petted and like fed from the hand. No preservatives, nothing like that.
Hand-fed cow.
Yeah. They probably like give them little massages to make them feel good. But yeah, Golden Star of the Day, Scott, if you're listening to this, I'll see you at Thanksgiving. I know that's so weird. We'll see you at Thanksgiving.
All right, I think that's where we're going to wrap it for episode 5. Thank you guys for listening. Comment and like on the YouTube video. Thank you guys. And just one little last shout-out. My roommate, Garrett Wedden, it's his birthday today on the 4th. Just wanted to give him a big shout-out. Thanks, Garrett. You're a great roommate.
Yeah, shout out Garrett. Transferred this year. We went
Yes,
to high
sir.
school with him. He's a goofy guy. Nothing wrong. But, hey, bigger shout out because I just forgot until you said this. Karl-Heinz's birthday is on November 5th, which is tomorrow when this will be aired. So happy birthday to Karl-Heinz. Thanks for being
Thank
the
you.
podcast guy. And please be responsible tomorrow.
21, yeah. Me and Garrett are going to go out tomorrow.
Yeah. Enjoy that because we did the podcast today. I didn't know it was his birthday. If I was guess, I would have held off to it.
That's all right.
We'll tell Garrett.
Thank you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right. Peace.